A brief outline of H.P. Blavatsky's life, read by Dave Marsland of Cardiff Theosophical Society. H.P. Blavatsky was born Helena Petrovna von Hahn at Ekaterinoslav in the Ukraine at midnight between the 30th and 31st of July 1831. This date is according to the Julian calendar in use in Russia at that time. According to the Gregorian calendar, the dates are the 11th and 12th of August 1831. Her father was Peter Alexeyevich von Hahn, a cavalry officer of Prussian ancestry in the Russian army. At the time of H.P. Blavatsky's birth, the Ukraine was part of the Russian Empire. H.P. Blavatsky's mother was Helena Andreevna von Hahn, née Fadeev, a renowned novelist who died at only 29 years old. In 1849, Miss von Hahn married General Blavatsky, who was a much older man, and she separated from him after only 3 months. Over the following 2 years, after leaving General Blavatsky, she travelled in Turkey, Greece, Egypt and France. She studied magic in Egypt with an aged Copt and joined the Druzes of Lebanon, a secret society. In 1851, she met her master in London, which she was visiting for the Great Exhibition. She saw a tall and stately Rajput whom she recognised as a protector known in her visions from childhood. He spoke of her future work she was to do under his direction after preparation in the East. Late in 1852, she went to Canada and then on to New Orleans, Mexico, South America, the West Indies, and then via the Cape of Good Hope to Ceylon and then on to India. In 1853, she attempted but failed to enter Tibet. She then returned to England via Java. She didn't stay long in England as the outbreak of the Crimean War made London rather unfriendly for Russians. In 1854 she went to America again, crossing the Rockies with a caravan of immigrants. She may have visited South America. In 1855 she travelled again to India via Japan and Malaya. Through 1856 and 57 she travelled through India, Kashmir, Ladakh, parts of Tibet and Burma. In 1858 she returned to Europe via Java, staying in France and Germany. Then she returned to Russia. Early in 1860, HPB left for the Caucasus, where she travelled among the numerous ethnic groups in the area. She remained in the Caucasus until 1864-65, and during this time experienced several physical and psychic crises, as a result of which she acquired complete control over her occult powers. In 1866 she left Russia again and travelled extensively in the Balkans, Egypt, Syria and Italy. She finished up in Italy in 1867 after paying a short visit to southern Russia. Blavatsky was also with Garibaldi at the Battle of Mentana and was picked out of a ditch for dead with her left arm broken in 2 places, musket balls embedded in her right shoulder and leg, and a severe stab wound in the chest. In 1868 HPB went to India and Tibet with her master, and in 1870 returned to Greece. In 1871 she embarked for Egypt and was shipwrecked near the island of Spetsi on July the 4th. In 1871-72 she settled in Cairo and made an unsuccessful attempt to found a spiritual society on the basis of phenomena. Then, as Madame Laura, she did concert tours in Italy and Russia, travelled to Syria, Palestine and Lebanon, and in 1872 returned for a short time to Odessa. In 1871 she embarked for Egypt and on July the 4th was shipwrecked near the island of Spetsi. She then settled in Cairo and made an unsuccessful attempt to found a spiritual society upon the basis of phenomena. Then, as Madame Laura, she did concert tours in Italy and Russia, travelled to Syria, Palestine and Lebanon, and in 1872 returned for a short time to Odessa. In 1873, after brief travels in Eastern Europe, HPB went to Paris, where she lived with her brother, painting and writing. In addition to her other accomplishments, she was a fine artist and a very clever caricaturist. She left Paris for New York on her master's orders, landing there on July the 7th. She was in New York without personal funds, having exchanged her first-class passage to steerage class, the cheapest, in order to buy steerage class for a poor woman and her children who had been swindled. Although she had in her trunk 23,000 francs entrusted to her by her master, she earned her living by working for a maker of cravats. Still acting under orders, she finally took the money to the town of Buffalo and gave it to an unknown man just in time to prevent him from committing suicide. An unsuccessful business venture at a Long Island farm used up a 1,000-ruble legacy she had received on the death of her father. In 1874, she was ordered to go to the Eddy homestead in Chittenden, Vermont. This was the scene of various occult phenomena being investigated by Colonel H.S. Olcott. In New York, on November the 17th, 1875, H.P. Blavatsky, Colonel Henry Steele Olcott, William Quan Judge and others founded the First Theosophical Society. In the autumn of 1877, H.P. Blavatsky published her first great work, Isis Unveiled. She sent the first proceeds, together with money received for her various articles published by Russian newspapers and journals, to the Red Cross in Russia to help her compatriots wounded in the Russo-Turkish War. In 1878, she became an American citizen. Later that year, acting under orders, she and Colonel Olcott sailed for India. They landed in Bombay in February 1879. In October of 1879, she launched her first magazine, The Theosophist, which resulted in a rapid growth of theosophical work in India between 1879 and 83. In 1880, H.P. Blavatsky and Colonel Olcott toured Sri Lanka to promote Buddhism, and in 1881 they converted to Buddhism. In 1882, a headquarters for Theosophy was established in Adyar near the Indian city of Chennai. H.P. Blavatsky made several tours of India between her arrival there in 1879 and her visit to Europe in 1884. H.P. Blavatsky left for Europe on February 20th, 1884, accompanied by Colonel Olcott and others. After visiting Neath, she settled for a while in Paris to work on the secret doctrine, briefly visited London, moved to Elberfeld, Germany in the autumn, and went to London in October, and soon after sailed to India, reaching Adyar on December the 21st. Gravely ill, H.P. Blavatsky sailed to Naples on March the 31st, 1885, leaving India for good. After a brief stay at Torre del Greco, she settled at Würzburg, Germany, where she wrote a large part of the secret doctrine. In December 1885, the Society for Psychical Research published their report on H.P. Blavatsky and her alleged phenomena. This was authored by Richard Hodgson. In his report, Hodgson accused Blavatsky of being a spy for the Russian government and also accusing her of faking paranormal phenomena. Although this report was later retracted, it caused great damage to Theosophy at the time. In July 1886, H.P. Blavatsky moved to Ostend, and in 1887 transferred her residence to London, where the Blavatsky Lodge was established, and her second magazine, Lucifer, was launched in September. In the autumn of 1888, The Secret Doctrine was published, and H.P. Blavatsky also founded the Esoteric School. This was followed in 1889 by the publication of The Key to Theosophy and The Voice of the Silence. In 1890, she established a European headquarters for Theosophy at 19 Avenue Road, London, and this is where she died. She passed away on the 8th of May 1891 during a flu epidemic. Her ashes were divided between New York, India and London, and some of them were interred under her statue in Adyar. In her will, she requested that each year on the anniversary of her death, May the 8th, her friends should assemble and read from the Light of Asia, the Bhagavad Gita and the Christian Bible. By Colonel Olcott's wish, this anniversary came to be known as White Lotus Day.